Hey everybody, I'm Dane Sanders. I want to welcome you to Fast Track Coaching. We are here in Las Vegas at WPPI, and I just came from my dear friend Laurie Nordstrom's presentation, and if you missed it, I'm sorry. If you saw it, you were blown away, no doubt. But one of the reasons why I really wanted to do a number of episodes from Las Vegas was to really bring this experience back home for folks. And sometimes it's really tough because there's nothing like actually being here and walking the halls and staying up way too late and having to drink a lot of water in the morning. But at the same time, there's actually some value in a private conversation that you can't get here unless you really are intentional, and that's what I wanted to do with having you on, Laurie. And as someone who speaks a lot at these kinds of events, it's really tempting to never actually go to other people's presentations.
Yes.
And I'm so glad I sat in on yours. It was phenomenal. I'm wondering if you could share a little. Oh, in case you guys don't know, Laurie Nordstrom's phenomenal. She has a ton of resources. In fact, you should go check these out right now. There's Photo Talk Forum. There is NordstromPhoto.com.
Let's give everybody the free download.
The free download of the book?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you want to download her free 30-page business plan workbook, you go to tinyurl.com / all uppercase PTF-2012 GIFT, and I'll put that on the link, so you'll see that later. And then, so Photo Talk Forum, what are the other things that you're doing?
Simply Kids.
We'll talk about this in a minute.
Yeah.
And then your own site.
Yeah. NordstromPhoto.com. It's a regular site.
Awesome. So check her out, but I'm sure you've already done that. Talk a little bit about what your intentions were in presenting today. What did you want to accomplish?
Well, really, I did a lot of research before coming, and I really just wanted to find out what people needed. And right now, I feel like people really do need the business end of things. Mm-hmm. We're all super excited to be photographers, and everybody's making amazing portraits, and that part works. But then, how do I price? How do I sell? How do I feel good about what I'm doing? And so those were some of the things that just in asking and looking statistically, kind of what people needed. That's what I wanted to give. Hopefully, I accomplished that for some people.
For sure. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I was really excited about what you were talking about was in the fast track world. One of the things that we realized going into 2012 was we did a really good job of helping people figure out who they are and what their strengths were and building a business around that. And then we did a good job to help people, vision and plan where they want to go with their business. Mm-hmm. But where I felt there was a missing link was we didn't do enough work to help people actually implement, like to go and do it. Mm-hmm. And this year we're trying to come up with as many tools as we can to help people do those things. So again, the themes are like be who you are, see where you're going, go do it. But at a place like Las Vegas, it's really tough because you go, like I was even thinking as you were presenting, gosh, to come and hear all that you shared from a long period of time being at this in the business. You've tried things, you've failed, you've won, you've done things right. And as someone who's in the crowd doing very similar things that you're talking about, I had this sense of like, gosh, to walk away from this after 2 hours would have this kind of overwhelming, gosh, how do I go take and do this? So I'm thinking for today's conversation, it'd be fun to not overwhelm you guys, but to talk through kind of in broad strokes a little of what you presented today. And then I want to tell you guys about something that's really cool that Laurie's offering at the end called Simply Kids. And if you want to jump ahead, you'll stop listening if you do this, so I encourage you not to. But if you go to simplykidssystems.com, you can see more about it there. But we'll get to this at the end. So the idea of implementing and breaking things down to chunkable, bite-sized realities that someone could actually go take action with. It seemed like in your presentation you were very systematic in talking about systems. Like there was method in all of what you were presenting. And I'm wondering if you could just share a little bit in broad strokes of what is your overall system when you think of portraits?
That is broad. And I think the underlying message of the program in itself, and hopefully conveying, kind of how to put some of those systems in place, but is that systems really changed my business when I decided that, actually, this has to have a flow.
Let's back up. So just in case, so everyone's really clear, when we say systems, we have a specific thing in mind.
Correct.
So what do you mean by systems?
By systems, I mean having a plan in place for every step of the process.
Okay, so it could be bullet points, 1, 2, 3.
Right, and it's repeatable. It's something that I could teach to you and say, this is the system. This is a repeatable process.
Got it.
This is how every step happens,
Okay.
what needs to be communicated, how our clients need to be educated, how we need to plan with them, all those things down to the final product and what we're delivering.
Got it.
So, yeah.
So in building a system like that for your business, one of the when I talk about systems, one of the comments I get a lot is like, well, gosh, I feel like I'm not being creative anymore. Now all of a sudden I feel like I left my day job where they had systems, and now I'm a photographer, and now you're telling me I have to build a system. Really?
Yeah.
How does that?
And that's tough. And I think a lot of times, getting into the business of photography and deciding I'm going to run a business, it does pull a little bit of that creative process out unless you are really, really attuned every single time to, I want to create. And so I think it's important to also have a plan for getting to be creative, if that's something that's really important to you. And I get beat up a little bit sometimes for saying I'm a business person first and a photographer second. But even me, I've gone through stages where I don't feel like I really even need the creative outlet, because business is creative to me.
Well, it is a creative act. There's
Yeah.
no doubt that's true.
And even working with employees, working with clients, and all those things, I get creative juice out of all of that. And so the actual creativity that comes from photography, and I love the creative process that happens with so many other people. I sometimes don't feel very creative, but I guess my advice to somebody who needs that creative outlet is to plan for it and to put even a system in place for that, which doesn't sound very sexy, but you weren't in the room, but I did show a project that I did in the beginning of the program. You were there for most of it, but
You totally caught me on tape. This
Yeah.
is totally true. I did come in
True
late,
story.
but I stayed.
But I showed a little creative process that I just recently did like a week ago. And, and so I think you can step out of your business box.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But there has to be some intention to it. And
Sure.
so when you talk about systems, you're not just saying like the kind of the stereotypical mundane cubicle existence, but as the proprietor of your business, you get to actually have control and say in what happens all the time. So you can actually build a system that has creativity as part of the process.
Yep.
Like one of my past guests was a guy named Todd Henry, and he wrote a book called Accidental Creative, and brilliant guy. And the way he encourages creatives of all sorts is very what you're describing, this kind of systematic approach to creativity. And I think of things like the Myers-Briggs or MBTI or whatever it is. I'm a J, and I love my lists, and they're great. But I run into my P friends who are just like, you are constraining me. I can't. It's gonna, like, do you think that there is a personality differentiator in this that could, like, are some people more prone to systems and benefiting from them than others? Or could there be some systems that just work different, like you build a different kind of system for a P person than you would for a J person, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and one thing, you just met Jen Hillengae, and she's been a friend of mine for a long time, and Jen is one of those people that is uber creative. It runs out of her. And for years, her friends, which are more of the list and goal-oriented people, were saying, you have to do your own business.
Right.
Like, you can't work for somebody else. Don't,
Right.
And she recognized that I'm not systems, I'm not a planner, that would box me in. And she found a business partner. And not that that's going to work right for everybody as well, or either.
Well, there's more complexities to it, but I could totally see how that would be beneficial.
And knowing your strengths, I think, is important, and and what you do in helping people really pull those things out. And what am I strong at? What I need help at? I'm not a great manager. I've had to learn to love to manage. It doesn't come easy for me. I would
How many
rather.
staff do you have?
We have 5.
5.
Not all full time, but.
Now, a lot of the listeners are home going like, "Oh, that's nice, 5 staff. That's great."
But it's a lot of work.
And you did. It is a lot of work. It's
Yes.
a tremendous. It's amazing. I used to have 3 staff and 2 interns, and I have none now. And for me, the opportunity of kind of regaining the energy around management was helpful for how I built my business currently. But I could totally see it's like accounting for, if I'm going to buy a big printer, there's going to be ink and paper and additional costs to it. If I'm going to hire somebody, it's not just relief, there's
Right.
management. But you weren't always this way. You didn't always have a big staff, and you're speaking from experience. So people who are sole proprietors are just trying to make it work, the system mindset is as relevant to them as it is to somebody with.
It is, and I think
stuff.
somebody that's working on their own, and we touched on this in the program, but
Was I not there?
to me, the best way to start, and nobody's going to create a system tomorrow,
Right.
But the best way to start, I feel, is for the person that's doing it on their own, write out that workflow, start to finish.
What do you actually do currently?
What am I doing, start to finish, the client experience, first phone call to final delivery, and really, putting that time value to each thing, deciding what only I can do, what things can I maybe
Have
delegate
somebody
at
else
some
do,
point.
right? Whether it be on your own team or if you're outsourcing.
Yeah,
it.
and outsourcing, there's so many options available to people now.
Oh my gosh.
that it's almost silly not to take advantage of being able to outsource because you don't have any responsibility to feed a family.
Right.
You're not bringing on an employee that you have to take care of on a day-to-day basis if
Or
you're not
if, you have
shooting.
if you're seasonal in the amount of
Exactly.
revenue, you don't have to like let a friend go.
Yep.
Because it's January.
Yeah,
or
yeah. Those great places to be able to do that with now, whether it's design or image editing,
There's a lot of
so
things.
many. But it's in the end of it, of course, everything happens for a reason. And in the end of it, it's really allowed me to connect with young women in the industry and, and be able to share some of those trial and error, sort of things. And
Yeah, you mentioned women in particular. Is it what?
I'm
why is
not
that?
prejudiced or anything.
Although I noticed in your giveaways today, all the women won.
Did they?
Uh-huh.
Well, a lot of them were random.
Well, yeah, except for I was going to give you feedback on this. That next time I'm coming in, I'm going to sit in the center aisle.
I know. It's the frisbee throwing. I wasn't good at it.
And there was one guy who went. I'm totally wrong. So, please read. But it's interesting to me though because
Women are taking over.
they are taking over the industry. There's no doubt that's true. And I have 3 daughters. I'm a big fan of the idea. My son's in trouble, but he's not really that motivated, so we're good. And I was totally relating, by the way, when you're talking about your son. My son is 12, going on 18, and
Yeah.
he's definitely transitioned. He's made the request. I'm not allowed to kiss him in public.
Yes.
It's pretty funny. But okay, so back to the Simply Kids product.
Yeah.
In the literature, you kind of explain why the Simply Kids things. I want to hear from that, but also this amazing promise of no assembly required. Like somebody could actually go to a workshop with you for 2 days, get all this collateral, templates, everything, and you're saying that 2 days later they will be able to deliver this product.
Yes.
And make actual
It's pretty powerful.
serious money.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely perfected it over the last couple of years, but when I even started it, we did it as a plan, as a system.
Okay.
I want this to work. My plan always was to never run Simply Kids. I'm going to run it, but not be the shooter
Right.
for Simply Kids in the studio. And so I wanted a repeatable system that I can teach somebody else to do, and have done that in my own studio. And so now I'm ready to teach it to other people. And what's exciting is, there's a lot of women,
Right.
a lot of moms who are excited about photographing and want to do things right, but just don't have all the tools yet. And so it's kind of for that photographer that maybe just wants to do an event a month or something, but wants to be profitable.
Right.
Or somebody like me who's got a studio and wants this second product line that can reach maybe a segment of the market that they're not reaching right now.
But this isn't just like a cool mini session idea. Like this is because I'm sure that's what people truncate it down to. Is they're
Sure.
like, okay, well, you're going to teach me how to do some one-day thing. But what you're describing, you based on results, you have seen this deliver
Yes.
consistently. How much money again?
Should I say this on camera? But yeah, it's a $10,000 day is what the plan is.
Okay, so that if people implement it properly,
Right.
they should expect. In
Yep.
fact, if they're not getting this kind of result, there's something wrong in how they're implementing. They should tweak it.
Yep.
But
With everything from the client communication to planning for the sessions to selling the sessions, the product line we've created, all those things. When the steps are followed.
$10,000.
Yes.
So I know that some people are at home going like, okay, that's exciting to me. I'm in. What actually happens to give people a little bit more context? What happens in this one-day event? There's
2 days.
2 days. Sorry, I'm sorry. The training's 2 days, but the actual deliverable.
Oh yeah. When we're doing it with clients,
Right.
It is a one-day process. We're photographing kids all day long.
Indoors.
Outside,
Okay.
but that's again my personal preference.
Right.
And we'll be doing both at the workshops. We'll be doing indoor and outdoor sessions
Got
so
it.
that they can see how it would work either way, whatever your specialty is.
Natural lighting or
Indoor studio lighting,
Indoor studio
outdoor
lighting.
natural light.
Got it.
Yeah. And really, I'll be teaching also how to tweak it to other product lines, but Simply Kids is what's near and dear to me, and I feel like also to many moms.
For sure.
I mean, that's why we're shooting. We want to capture those childhood moments. So.
Right. So if I'm me and Tammy and our kids, we sign up one day for a Simply Kid event, and we're going to come. Do we pay $1,000 and?
No.
So in broad strokes, can you give me a little bit of context for what?
Yeah, no, it's there. It's simple sessions. They are shorter sessions, mini sessions.
Okay.
When I started this, I really wanted everything about it to be branded differently than what we do in the studio on a day-to-day basis.
Got it.
Because I need to give my regular clients who are coming in and spending $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a reason why they
come
shouldn't
back.
just go and do a Simply Kid session.
Right.
So it needs to be completely different. So they are mini sessions. They are, outside, one spot, one outfit. It's just kids. I don't photograph families.
Nice.
And which allows me then to market back to them to come in for a family session at the studio.
Totally.
What else? It's a different product line.
Is there a consult that happens prior to?
I do consultations with every single person coming in on the phone.
On the phone. Mm-hmm. So you walk it through.
Yep. Another, of course, system in place for that, but kind of what we need to communicate with them before they get there.
Great.
But yeah, it's a fun, fun day, great event. We do sell right there. So I'm shooting and handing off a card, and we're selling.
Got it.
So we're really plugging people into specific packages before they even sit down with us.
Which is possible now, whereas before, that would have been really tough to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. That's cool. So if people go sign up for this, they're going to actually have you trained them on how to do it. They're going to get all the stuff.
Yes.
And they're going to be able to go home. How often do you think someone could reasonably offer this product from a studio?
Well, if this was their main product line in a studio,
Yeah.
I would do one session a week.
Wow.
One event a week, yeah. There are some that could do it once a month. Mm-hmm. You could do it once a quarter. I mean, whatever, however it works. As a studio, as a second product line, for me personally, we do one event a month.
Got it. That's great. But what's super about this is, again, I've been in enough conversations with you guys to know that this is exactly what people are craving. Is like, okay, I do want to get creative with my camera, but I want to do it in a container, a system, or a context that allows me to be profitable, not give away the farm. Where do you think people are going to be most resistant? Because some people, even $1,000 to get a client, like that's a massive average. Like
right.
They're used to $50 to $150 and giving a disc, and we've all been in those conversations about why that's not the smartest thing on the planet to do.
Right.
Even if you deliver digital files, to timing on when you deliver it and all that stuff makes a big difference. What do you think the biggest resistance will be for the folks at home to this product?
It's all between here. That's where the resistance comes. It's a person who is sitting out there saying, well, I've only been doing this for 6 months, or even I've done it for 3 years, but I haven't been able to charge my friends yet,
Yeah.
And most of it is back to the women thing, but a lot of it comes back to guys can come.
No, I don't believe you.
But but I think a lot
if
of
you
times
don't want me to come, Lori, just say so. Just say it straight up, and I'll still come anyway.
only you.
That's great.
But a lot of times I think it goes back to the value that we place on ourselves, and that's part of the communication. If, and we talked about this in the program today, but if I believe in my product and what I'm doing, if I can communicate the value to you,
Totally.
then you're buying in. And so a lot of times, I think the biggest problem I see for new people in the business, not just women, but it's presenting the entire package to the client, not just here are the pictures, because your client's going to love your pictures.
Right.
But it's the whole entire idea of what we're doing, the value of what we do, and presenting that whole entire concept that leads to the end sale.
Totally makes sense. Okay, well, let's talk about some dates. You're going to be in Atlanta. This is coming up quick. So Atlanta, Charlotte, Tampa, Dallas, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, Philadelphia, New York. Where's Los Angeles?
And it's all really spread out.
But where's
so
Los
it's not like
Angeles?
happening all together.
Where's the West Coast? Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, I know. And my son lives in LA now. And
Interesting. Okay, but it's starting in April, and it runs through September. And if they want to get more information, they should check out simplykidssystems.com.
Yep.
My guess is there's probably, oh wow, this is really affordable. Is it limits in terms of how many people can come to these things? How many people
15.
are? 15 people.
Gonna be
total.
small. Per event.
So
Yeah.
hopefully when this broadcasts, there's still space. But
Well, and the other thing too that I didn't even mention in the program, but I've actually trademarked the system. I mean, it's that powerful. And so one of the things that the client will be investing in, the photographer will be investing in for the workshop is the Simply Kids name, the marketing, all of it.
Right.
They'll basically be licensed to use
It's like a
that if they
franchise.
want to. If they want to. I won't have anything to do with, making money on it in the future, so it's not a franchising in that way.
got it.
But they'll be licensed to be able to use that trademarked.
So they get
name.
they get access to the intellectual property and are able to
Exactly.
use it by coming and
Yep.
paying for the deal.
Yep.
Wow, that's really generous. And they can use that name too. They can
use Simply Kids.
Can they rebrand it to their own stuff? If
They
want
can.
to? Got
Yep.
it.
Either way.
You're very generous. Well, go check it out. Go check out Lori Nordstrom and, of course, Photo Talk Forum. And you guys, if you watched this live, you joined us in the chat, and we were chatting with you, and you got all the links there. If you caught it in replay, reach out to myself or to Lori. We'd be happy to help you any way we can. But that's it for now. We'll take care, and thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.